America, you know, the fact that he's ahead in the polls, right now, no matter what goes on, there's been all these endless court cases and it just doesn't seem to be having an effect. I think it's like seen as a bit of a rebel, you know, which is very June the 14th. You know?
Is that a Gemini?
He's a Gemini.
Oh, good and evil in one, huh?
Exactly.
Are there any other similarities between you and Donald Trump?
I don't think so.
Okay. Correct answer.
Now, depending on which side of the generational divide you decide, this is either the coolest new trend or an unwelcome blast from the past. Much to the horror of millennials, it appears that Gen Zs have successfully resurrected the dress over jeans look, popular on the carpets of the early 90s. And now the style has been spotted in Aussie shop windows. Are you horrified?
I wouldn't be wearing it anyway.
Yeah, I think there are definitely elements that I would get inspired by from the noughties. So
It's over the top. What do you
I've
make of it?
never, ever owned a pair of jeans.
Really? What?
My legs are too short. There was one photo, but it was like doctored.
Oh, okay.
I made my legs longer.
Yeah.
Jeans
You're not
for
a fan
me,
of
jeans
jeans?
like, no.
Okay.
But on this, what do you
What do you think of that?
With the dress over the top.
You know, when it comes to fashion, I think do what you want. You know, if somebody says something's out of fashion, that's the reason to wear it. I just think fashion dictates, you know, you should just wear what the hell you like.
I've been thinking about wanting to wear a tie on this show. Boy, George,
Without a shirt or just over a t-shirt?
No shirt, just a tie, and maybe a bow tie potentially.
Not with a t-shirt. I think you need to have a shirt, you know.
Oh, okay. And frosted tips? What are your thoughts on frosted tips?
Absolutely essential.
You have talked about, though, when you were young and going out the door dressed as you wanted. What would
Even when I was young.
Well, look, we've got some amazing photos here because you were a fashion trailblazer.
My mum used to stop me. My mum used to stand in front of the door to start with. She would say to my dad, "Jerry, look what he's wearing." And my dad used to look behind his newspaper and go, "If he wants to get beat up, you know, why am I talking like an Australian?" And then eventually my mum sort of became my collaborator because she was a really good seamstress. So she would just copy things. I would get something from Vivienne Westwood and she'd say, "How much was that?" I can make it for like a third of the price.
In fact, didn't you wear a piece that your mum had made to a Vivienne Westwood show and she saw it?
I was at a show and I had these Union Jack bondage trousers on and she was like, "They're not mine." And I said, "My mum made them," and she checked them out. And she goes, "Tell your mum she did a really good job."
Oh,
I love Vivienne. She was so cool.
And can
So
we tell everyone at home how many hats you're travelling with on this tour?
Oh,
Probably about 20 on this tour.
20.
How many have you got total?
Oh, hundreds are in cupboards and under beds. You know, everywhere you look, there's hats hidden.
How do you travel with 20 hats?
I've got these massive big trunks that I quite like because the hats are light. So people always go, "What's in it?" And I go, "Hats." And then once in Australia, they opened it and they go, "What are they?" And I was like, "They're hats." I mean, and they said, "Are you going to sell them?" And I said, "Who would buy them? I don't know."
I think a fair few people in here would like to buy one of those.
Hey, time for a break. A heaps more project coming up in a moment.
Now, where is Waleed? He's been MIA all week, and he'll be pretty furious if he knew he was missing Boy George. Waleed, you are in London. What could possibly top Boy George?
well, frankly, I ditched you guys because I got a better offer with the Rolling Stones. Thank you very much. I mean, I think, yeah, even you would agree that's a better offer. It's a better offer than most offers.
Let's ask Boy.
It was...
I absolutely want to be a big jacket when I grow up. Who doesn't, you know?
No, honestly, guys, it was an extraordinary experience. They are releasing a new album of original music. They haven't done this for 18 years. They're very hard working, done a lot of touring, etc. But a new album, like this just sort of came out of nowhere. And they went big on the launch, let me tell you. There were people from all over the world flown in. Jimmy Fallon was hosting this. It went for about half an hour. It was an extraordinary to-do. And then, somehow, I managed to get to chat to them afterwards. And so, look, here's just a melange of everything that happened yesterday. Have a look.
Well, that was awesome. Was that a scoop? Like a genuine scoop, the McCartney bit?
Look, put it this way, he was not meant to mention it. Jimmy Fallon didn't talk about it because he wasn't allowed to. And then in that interview that they did, Ronnie just starts to, "Oh, Stevie Wonder's great on it, Lady Gaga's great." It's like, hang on, whoa, and they just moved on. And then all of a sudden, the Rolling, basically, if you're an investigative journalist, just hang out with the Rolling Stones because they don't obey any rules, and they will tell you all the things they're not meant to tell you. And so it was great. It just suddenly was like, all right, let's talk about the fact that Paul McCartney came and played bass for the Rolling Stones. It just blew me away that happened. It really, really did.
Waleed, the Beatles or the Stones? Come on, which one?
Well, I mean, so this is an unfair question because obviously I've just interviewed the Rolling Stones, and one day I might interview Paul McCartney, and if I say something now, I mean, I'm going to be screwed then. So that would be a very silly thing for me to answer. But I will say this. I understand, George, that after this, we're going to interview you about your tour, which means you got the prime spot in the rundown, which means Beatles versus Stones both lose to Boy George.
He's a politician.
Oh, Waleed, is this like your dream assignment? Are you just losing your mind?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to top it. It really is.
Oh.
Because, you know what, like, there's sort of, you know, there are great bands, there are great artists, whatever, and then there are people who are just on a level, or artists that are just on a level that no one else will get to again, because the culture doesn't work that way anymore. And the Stones are these mythical, like, they've been going for 61 years. I think only the Beach Boys have maybe gone longer, and they've just released this new album, and I'm really fortunate I've listened to it. I'm one of the few who's had that opportunity, and it's a proper Stones record. Like, it really is. Like, from the first moment you go, oh my God, there's Keith and there's Mick, and they're just as committed as they ever were. And suddenly you're talking to someone who's just straddled culture in a way that really very, very few people have. So yeah, I'm pretty fortunate to have been given this.
It's incredible to see the boys together, but there's a kind of a glaring absence there. The great Charlie Watts, who passed away in 2021. But two of the tracks on the album feature him on the drums. What did the band
It's amazing, yeah.
say about that?
So so this was an album they were actually thinking about doing from about 2017, and they recorded a couple of these songs in 2019. And so obviously they had these recordings and they thought they'd better release it, and they were asked about it, and Keith made a really poignant comment actually. He said, it's not the same without Charlie, you know, he's the fourth. And they pointed to, there were these like panels in the theatre that had the number 4 on it, and suddenly it became clear why they were there. So it's a really significant thing, I think, for them to be able to release new music with Charlie, even in his absence. But it's still Stones music because it's not like they had drum tracks from ages before and then they dubbed stuff over. These were recordings they did together. So it feels like, you know, the last breath, really, of that group. And then there are also a couple of appearances from Bill Wyman on it. So there is one song that features the original Stones. And it's like, here it is, one last time, at least in that form. Just go for it.
You look giddy, Waleed. Good for you. The Rolling Stones, the new single Angry is out now, and their brand new album Hackney Diamonds will be released on October 20. Waleed, go on to some real work, mate.
We're about to go into New Running, so, you know, so we got
Party shot there.
Thanks, Wade. Boy George, it's been amazing having you here tonight, and we do want to chat to you about your tour. You're out here for the Culture Club Greatest Hits tour. Am I right in saying that you actually opened the show with a Stones track?
I've always covered Stones songs, Sympathy for the Devil, Little Red Rooster, and also You Can't Always Get What You Want. And the other night, Berlin, they're opening with us as well, and they played Highway to Hell. I wasn't going to let them get away with that, so I said to the band, we have to open with Sympathy for the Devil. So it is a greatest hits tour, but we're doing, you know, some covers, some new things. So it's the greatest hits, but more.
Yeah.
Rather than just, you know, being a jukebox.
You said before that when you grow up you want to be Mick Jagger. Have you ever met him?
I have met him. I met him at Bill Wyman's wedding, and he came up and shook my hand. He went, "I like your shoes." It was kind of a moment, you know. And I've obviously hung out with Keith in Jamaica. I had a very fun day with him in Jamaica many years ago. I won't tell you what we got up to.
Oh,
it was
surprise
fun.
you.
And obviously Ronnie, I've hung out with him one Christmas Eve as well and had fun.
Wally put the question to you there. You beat Beatles or Stones?
Well, luckily I don't have to choose because I think they're both amazing. But I'm more of a Lennon fan, you know, in terms of what he did and what he was about. You know, I love John Lennon, but you know, good songwriting is good songwriting.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Karma Chameleon, the 40th anniversary coincides with your tour. Take me back to when you first wrote it. Did you know you had a hit on your hands?
I thought it was a hit, but the rest of the band hated it. They absolutely hated it. I came in with this the song and the melody, and they were like, oh my god, it sounds like a country song, and they hated it, and I had to fight with them to get it on the album. And I'm often saying to them, can I have the royalties then, because you hated it, you know, at the time. I had to like fight with them, but you know, it's one of those songs that lights up the place. You know, we always do it as the last song so no one can leave. So if you leave early, you know, with the excuse you've got a babysitter or whatever, you ain't gonna hear the song.
After singing it for 40 years, do you ever get sick of singing it, or do you love it? Do you love the reaction it gets?
I love the reaction it gets, and you know, it's if you mix up the set and you kind of make it, you have to make it exciting for yourself as well. It's not just about going on and doing obvious things, but you can't do a show without doing Calm Chameleon. I've done punk versions of it. I should do one with Amon and the Sniffers. That'd be amazing.
Oh, I think you would make their year.
I mean, absolutely. Now, you've done so many amazing things in your career, George. I feel like there's something exciting you want to share with us tonight. I'm getting a vibe. Is that right?
Well, I'm turning straight, so I just want to.
Unbelievable.
Don't tell Carly if you don't. No, I might be doing a Broadway show next year. So I'm still kind of in discussions for that. It's something that I've done a bit of theatre, but it's something I'm quite excited about.
Is that's a space you want to move into? Have you thought about doing
Not
it?
necessarily. You know, I just,
You can just do anything.
I do what I feel like doing. I don't really have a set kind of, oh, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. You know, I did I'm a Celebrity last year, or was it this year? It was last year.
Last year.
And, I just do what I feel like doing, because I think nowadays, the industry doesn't run like it used to, so you don't really have to follow any rules, you just do what you want,
You have said, I think, that you're at a point in your life where you only want to do things that are fun, or everything needs to be fun. But you're actually smashing out a book while you're here on tour. That doesn't sound easy or fun.
Well, it is fun because I've been doing a lot of research, and you go back and you suddenly realise you've missed stuff. You missed things, or you forgot things that you did that were like really exciting, and it's really good having the internet.
So what, you're looking up what you did to find...
Well, looking up the details, like what day was it, and who was, you know what I mean? Just kind of sometimes you get things out of sync.
Are you surprised at things you did?
I'm surprised by some of the people that I have met and kind of forgot about. Some like Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., some of those people, you think, oh my God, I met those people and I wasn't really present. I was like, oh yeah, Frank Sinatra.
Well, you're sort of on the internet looking for detail about stuff, and you come across stories about things that you completely forgot.
Well, the Frank Sinatra thing is funny, because I took a drag queen to see him in concert, which is a very silly thing to do. And it was a long time ago before drag queens were controversial, but I actually met him with a drag queen called Coral Reef. And I was like, hi Frank. And I was thinking, oh my God, why did I do that? What was I thinking?
What was the reaction?
Yeah.
He was as cool as a cucumber.
Oh, there we
It's
go.
Frank Sinatra, the king of cool. It wasn't bothered. At least he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. It's the UK version filmed in Australia. How did a glamour like you go in the jungle?
Well, first of all, they tried to sort of portray me as a diva, and they, because in the morning I chant and I meditate and all this rest of it, and they kept playing it over and over like it's all I did all day. But what was interesting, when I got out of there and went back to London, there was a lot of awful press about me, but every cab driver I met was like, oh, you were amazing in the jungle, you were the only one that spoke the truth, because I was in there with Matt Hancock, who's a very controversial politician, and everyone was bitching about him behind his back, and I was the only one that really told him what I felt. So I think in a way it paid off, but
How'd you handle the big snakes?
I didn't see any snakes.
Oh, that's good.
No, I was very lucky. Because I didn't tell them what I was scared of.
Were you able to bring all the hats in? Did you walk in?
No, it was just very, very exposing. It was just very it was a moment to get over yourself.
It was just a lot of khaki. Culture Club, they're playing Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide and Brisbane over the next week. You can grab your tickets from tickettech.com.au. Would you put your hands together?
With Berlin as well.
Oh, with Berlin as well.